You ended up saying that you're pretty seasoned in Mustang Sally.
Now I know where this is going.
Would you like to give us a little taste of that?
Oh my God. Mustang Sally! Guess you better slow that Mustang down. That'll do for now, because my daughter will die.
There you go. All right, it is that time. Please welcome the Steel City Con, Tom Ellis. Here you go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And it was all yellow. Goodness me. I haven't got my glasses on, so I apologise. I can't see anyone. Well, I can't see anyone. Can't see anyone beyond like the third row. But anyway.
It is really great to have you here.
Thank you.
And with some general questions kick off before we get into some of the audience stuff. And I just wanted to start at the beginning. How did you get into acting and a little bit of your background?
I was relatively late, I guess, in terms of like being at school and working out what I wanted to do. I was really fixated on being involved in sport somehow. Most people know that I'm really into sport. Unfortunately, I wasn't quite good enough at any of the sports that I played to sort of pursue it professionally. But in my head, I was determined to get on the pitch. So I was like, I'll be the physio that runs on when they get injured. And that was really where I was headed. And then in the UK, when you're doing your last 2 years of school, there's a thing called A-levels, which is like at least 3 subjects to guide you towards what you want to do in tertiary education. And I was a bit stuck for my third A-level because I was doing history and I found it a bit boring. I know, English Civil War, terrible. And so I dropped it and I just didn't know what to do. And then my old English teacher from earlier in school came to me and she said, I hear you're looking for a new A-level. I'm running the theatre studies class. I've got 12 girls and I've only got 1 boy. Would you be interested? And I was like, I'm going to stop you right there. And yes is my answer. So I started, for all the wrong reasons, I went to a couple of theatre studies classes and I just kind of fell in love with it. It fit like a glove, basically. And as that sort of year progressed, I did a school play and then I was encouraged to audition for this thing called the National Youth Theatre in the UK. And when I did that in my summer semester, I met a load of people that were all like-minded and all enjoyed the same thing, and they were all off to drama school that following year. And I thought, that's what I want to do, I want to go to drama school. So I auditioned that year and I got a place, and that was it, really. Yeah.
But you also have a background in music, though. You do play the piano, and your voice is pretty awesome.
Look at these ones. I don't play the piano.
Oh, really?
I'm very good at air piano.
You play the French horn.
I play the French horn.
French horn.
There you go. Yeah, no, my mum was a music teacher, so we all got, whether we liked it or not, we were like given an instrument very early in our lives. So at the age of 5, I was given a cornet, which is like a baby trumpet. And then I moved up to trumpet. And then I think at the age of 8 or 9, my parents decided that, I think this is how my dad put it, we're going to move you to the French horn because it will give you more opportunities in life. It hasn't. But yeah, but that, that's kind of like what my life was like. We were surrounded by music. My dad was a pastor in the church. There's always music there. And so yeah, music is in me and part of me for sure.
But your singing, that's real. The voice.
That's real.
Yeah.
I did that. The weird thing is, right, I've just literally been having a chat about drama school. When you decide whether you want to be an actor or not, and certainly in the UK, and you go to drama school, there's 2 avenues. You can be a serious dramatic actor, or you can do musical theatre. And I, at that moment in time, wanted to be a serious dramatic actor. And it's weird, once you've made that distinction, it's almost like you're not good enough to be a singer because you haven't chosen the other one. And so for a long time, I didn't lose my voice, like actually lose my voice, but I just didn't sing. It just wasn't part of what I did. And we had the odd singing lesson at drama school, but I didn't see myself or think that I was someone who was a singer or had a good voice. And then I just, by sheer luck, on Lucifer, which is, I've said that, I'm not meant to say it, am I? On this thing that I did.
Thank you. Good comeback.
And I basically, we were out having a social. Everyone was getting to know each other. And then there was a karaoke night, and I got up and did a karaoke song. And the two of the writers that were there were like, "We didn't know you could sing." And the next thing I knew, there was a script that came in, and it was me singing in it. And that's basically where it started.
What was the song you sang at karaoke? Do you happen to remember? I'm not going to have to sing
Do I happen to remember? It's the only one I do. Mustang Sally.
Ah!
It was, yes. Yes, which I've done at lots of people's weddings, uninvited. It just takes hold of me sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, your style of acting just seems so natural. I mean, how much of yourself do you put into your work? It just seems effortless.
Well, thank you. I don't know. I think there's part of you that creeps into every character that you do. I think it's very difficult to kind of like be a complete, change completely. And there are elements of, like, I guess my own sense of humour that I would infuse into things. I always try and find humour in stuff, even if it's not a comedic piece. Because I think there's always comedy in life, whether life is serious or not. And so that's always been something that I've tried to sort of find in things. And I think that sort of lends itself to what you're talking about, which is like coming across as being natural. But yeah, I mean, that's always been my note to self is like, just try and make it as truthful as possible within the boundaries that you have. Do
you have any room for improvisation that you'd like to throw in there?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, certain parts that I've done, I've been allowed to do that. And it's helpful, certainly if the character is someone who themselves is like quick-witted or something. Mm-hmm. It's a license I've not always been given, but when you are given it, it's quite lovely. Yeah.
So when you first get a script, I mean, is there a process you prepare for the audition? And what do you like when you read a script? Is there certain things you look for? I mean, what really catches you?
Again, it's really hard. Like I don't have a preconceived notion of what I want to do. Like I think a lot of actors will say this. It's not. I don't know what I want to do, but when I see it in front of me, I know. And for me, there are certain. It depends what I've just been coming from as well. I always try to do something completely different from what I've just done, if possible. And then, yeah, again, there's things like humour. I mean, good writing just is not something that you're sitting there wondering about. You're there going, oh my God, this is really well written. It's so obvious when it's well written. It's less obvious when it's poorly written. But what I've learned over the years is when it's really difficult to learn your lines, it normally means the script isn't very good. But when it's really good, it's effortless to learn them.
So do you ever think about doing any theater again?
Uh-huh. Oh, for sure.
Is there anything you might... I know you can't... I don't know if you can really mention
I can talk about plays, can't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think... Like, again, I've just had a pre-chat that's warmed me up for this in the green room. I love theatre, and that's how I started. I think that it's been a long time now since I've been on a stage, and I really am feeling that pull of like, I need to go and do theatre again, because for me it's like rehab for acting. Mm-hmm. Certainly, if you've been on a TV or film set for a long time, the process that you go through in theatre is so different, and it's so much more fulfilling. So yeah, no, I would love to do theatre. I would love to go and do something on Broadway, for sure. I'd love to go and do something in the West End. And I'd like to do both dramatic acting and maybe do a musical as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for theatre, what would your preparation be different than from film or television?
Well, the biggest difference in theatre is the rehearsal room. you have, at the very least, normally you have like 4 weeks of rehearsals, which is just a time of discovery, of fun, of failing, but having a group of people around you that are discovering things at the same time. And this very organic process, things take shape very naturally. The difference between that and doing film and TV is you've got to do all of that work yourself because you don't have time for rehearsals. I mean, very rarely you have time for rehearsals. So, you'll rehearse on the day when you're shooting the scene, and you'll all turn up at set, and then everyone will have their script in front of them, and you'll loosely talk it through, and then you'll loosely block it through. But then the next, 2 or 3 hours whilst you're filming that scene is your discovery period, almost, which also can be incredibly frustrating because you'll find yourself driving home in the car at the end of a day's filming, going, "Oh God, I wish I'd done that. Oh, why didn't I do that? Oh, I wish I'd done this." Whereas in theatre, you've gone through that process way before you start performing it, because that all happens in the rehearsal room.
Is there a dream role, possibly, that you're thinking, I would love to do that in theatre?
There's a couple. I mean, if I was to do a Shakespeare play, I've always wanted to play Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing. I love that play. And then I'm a huge fan of old-fashioned farce. And Noel Coward, I've always thought was an absolute genius. I've always wanted to do Private Lives and play Elliot in Private Lives. It's just a brilliantly written farce.
So let's switch to Comic-Cons. How overwhelming is all of this to actually see this live?
Well, I can't see, so it's brilliant.
Oh, never mind. My mistake.
Look, I started doing these when I was involved in a show that was about an otherworldly creature that I can't talk about. I had friends that had done these things, and they've been involved in sci-fi shows and fantasy shows, and they talked to me about these things. Now I've done quite a few of them, and I really, really enjoy them, because for me it's an opportunity that you don't normally. Again, the difference between theatre and TV and film. In theatre, instant gratification. You're on the stage; they can let you know whether it's good or not. And you get that instant feedback. With film and TV, you do it in bits and pieces, then it all gets put together by somebody else, and then there's a period of time, and then it comes out, and then apart from now we've got social media, there isn't really that instant kind of feedback. So yeah, I lost my train of thought then, but that's the big difference. What was the question again?
No, you pretty much answered it.
Did I answer it?
You got it.
Okay, this lime juice is so strong.
So aside from acting, what other things interest you?
Well, as I've touched on, huge sports fan. Big day for the England women's team today. And a big day for Arsenal Football Club. Thanks, Marnie. Sport is something I've just always been obsessed with. And in a weird way, it is theatre. Because you don't know what's going to happen, and there is an element of drama to it. And I think that, when people say, "Oh, why do you like this and why do you like that?" If you know the rules of a certain sport, then you can appreciate the drama that's going on. And so I don't know, it's always been in me. I woke up this morning stupidly early after getting in stupidly late last night to watch football, knowing I had to come and do this all day. But it's, if my team have won, I'm in such a good mood for the day. It's that simple.
Pittsburgh understands sports.
Exactly. No, you do, don't you? It's a big sports city.
So we're going to get to questions in a bit. And like I'm saying, I'll monitor the questions. I'll make sure that it's all SAG and AFTRA safe. If you have a question on this side of the room, line up. If you have a question on this side of the room, line up. I guarantee you we're not going to get to all your questions.
Okay.
We'll try our best, but like I'm saying, you're over in the hotel. That's where your booth is.
Yeah.
He's going to be signing over there. You got photo ops coming up.
Yeah.
But before we go any further, I'm a big music fan. What kind of music do you listen to, and what's currently maybe on your Spotify playlist?
I listen to everything. I can tell you because my kids have been staying with me for the last few weeks. So the first thing that will come on my Spotify at the moment, and it has been for the last few years, is the Broadway recording of Hamilton. Yeah. That's always on there. And I don't know, I listen to oldies, I listen to hip hop. I listen to R&B. I listen to all of it really. I love music, and I can appreciate the nuances between different genres. My wife has got me into country music, which I never thought I'd be into, but it's great, But it's just, for me, music is about mood and feeling, and so I'm happy to put on what I'm feeling at the time.
Nice. Well, anyhow, let's get to questions, and thanks for coming here because it's what we all desired. You hear that 1,000 times a day.
I've never said that in any show ever.
Ouch.
Okay.
Let's start with the questions over here, then we'll bounce over here.
Okay, your name and your question.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
Hello.
Hello. You ended up saying that you're pretty seasoned in Mustang Sally.
Now I know where this is going.
Would you like to give us a little taste of that?
Oh my God. Mustang Sally! Guess you better slow that Mustang down. That'll do for now, because my daughter will die.
There you go. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle.
Hey, Tom, I'm Steve. In 2 weeks' time, my son's headed off to England. He's going to LIPA to study music.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so as a former art school student in England, what do you have as a recommendation when he first gets there and to hit the ground running?
Is that Liverpool?
Yeah, Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts.
Well, Liverpool's a great city for students. I think, what advice for him? I mean, honestly, I'm not just saying this. Liverpool is a fantastic city for the arts. There's so much going on. There's a lot of people are very much in touch with cultural things there. Obviously, it's the home of the Beatles and all that, but the theatre scene there is great. He's going to have an awesome time because it's just music, theatre, and lots of like-minded people in that sense. Don't go to Manchester. Joke. No, Manchester's down the road, and honestly, that little corner of the UK, there's a lot going on, so I'm very excited for him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to head to this side of the room for 2 questions.
Hi, I'm Will. You talked about being a sports fan earlier and playing when you were in school. What all sports did you do in school, like rugby or soccer?
Yeah, football. Not the pigskin. Football, cricket, rugby, field hockey, bit of badminton, and a bit of swimming.
What position did you play for rugby? I played too.
Rugby, I was a fullback.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but I wasn't quite as tall then, or as big, so I was like,
Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hello, Tiffany.
So obviously I want to say thank you for the show with where you showcased your devilish charms and all your music, so thank you for that. But I wanted to ask, what was it like getting to play an evil king with a certain famous sorcerer?
Well, we can talk about that, because I don't believe that was a SAG job.
Really?
No, that was years ago, and that was in the UK. So I think you're talking about a show called Merlin.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Big fan.
That was a lot of fun. I didn't realise, because I'm used to having short hair, that you've got to keep your mouth closed on a horse when you've got long hair. That's my biggest takeaway from that. That and the fact that when a costume designer goes, "This is going to look so cool, this outfit I've got you. It's an all-in-one leather thing, and it's all tied up at the back like lattice work." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's amazing." Yeah, tell my bladder that. Because that was a nightmare. It took about 45 minutes to get in and out of it. If I needed a loo break, I was absolutely screwed.
Oh,
yeah.
no.
Thank you. Let's head over to that side of the room, get 2 more folks.
Hi, my name's Alyssa.
Hello, Alyssa.
I would like to know, what's that one song that picks you up when you're feeling down?
Ooh. It's a song by Elbow called One Day Like This. And it is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. And it's a little bit like, I don't know if anyone knows the band Elbow. Forearm? No. So they're a British band, and they are iconic back on the British Isles. But basically, they brought an album out about 15 years ago now, And one of the songs on it, One Day Like This, is what he called, the lead singer called it, this was our Hey Jude. He wanted to write a song like Hey Jude that had a beautiful melody and then that big kind of ending that everyone joins in on. And that's what this is like. And it's a song about a guy waking up next to his wife and realising why he loves her. Aww. Big softies.
Sorry, that made me laugh.
Sorry.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Terry, and you talked about the theater and drama roles. What about a musical? Like, what role would you like to play in a musical?
Well, that's a good question. Well, back in the day, it was always Tony in West Side Story. Oh. Yeah. I'm a bit old for that now. I can play Tony's dad. I don't know. I mean, I was literally 2 days ago, I was sitting down with my son Flo and watching Legally Blonde, the musical, which is amazing. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a part in that would be quite fun, which is the professor at the law school. Oh, gosh, I don't know. You really put me on the spot with that one. Guys and Dolls, you know. As I say, it will feel right when it's the right thing that comes in, but those are great musicals, for sure. And if I was allowed to be in Hamilton, I'd like to be Aaron Burr, sir.
Oh, yeah.
I want to be in the room where it happened.
Now we're going to head over to this side for a couple questions.
This is very serious.
Oh, God.
Do you have the red robe?
The red rope?
Robe.
Oh, the red robe. You mean the robe that... Yeah. No, I don't. But my mother-in-law just bought me this thing. She was on holiday in Africa, and she bought me a kimono. And I put it on, and it's the first time I felt like that person for quite a few years. I was like wandering around, and it's got this like little tie at the front, but everything else just flaps open. I was like, yeah. And we're back.
And you, sir?
Well,
go ahead, your name and your question.
what's your favorite apple juice?
Glenmorangie. It's from the Glenmorangie apple tree. Yeah.
There you go.
Inside joke there. When he says apple juice, he doesn't mean apple juice, but something that's the same colour.
Yes.
What's that? Oh, okay.
I'll give you a clue. Rhymes with frisky.
Head on over there.
Hi, I'm Katie, and I'm freaking out right now because
Well, get a
this
question.
is
All right, Katie.
my bucket list before I turned 40
Okay.
was to meet you. So, hi.
There you go.
We've got another 10 years, haven't you?
20, but I figured I'd get a head start.
Oh, 20. So I haven't got my glasses on.
Yes,
Got another
the
20
glasses.
years.
There you go.
Anyways, when you were on that streaming service playing that little devilish guy, what was like your favorite episode? And secondly, was there an alternate ending that you guys were kicking around that you could have potentially went with?
The favourite episode was probably in the first season of that thing. And it was called A Priest Walks Into a Bar. And the reason I love that episode is it was the first time in the making of that piece. Gosh, this is hard work, isn't it? In the making of that piece, where it wasn't just about it being about one thing. And it really kind of like opened up the floodgates of the potential of what we could do. And it was a brave move for our writers, because I don't think it's the way in which the network saw what the show was. But we got away with it. And it's so wonderfully refreshing to hear that particular, episode resonated with people in the same way it did with us. So it's probably that one. And what was your second part of the question?
An alternate ending that you were kicking around?
there were a couple of endings. I mean, the thing is that the show ended about 49 times before we ended it. So, there was an alternative ending to it. But I have to say I was very happy with the one that we had. I know it was quite polarising for people, but then I'm quite happy about that as well. No, I am, because it's not that you aim to do that. But I think you've got, if in art and creativity, you've got to commit to something. Because if you don't commit to it and you try and please everybody, all you get is like vanilla, diluted, yeah. And so we committed to it. And we knew that there would be some people out there that would be upset. And not that we don't care about those people, but in the first instance, we didn't start. It's not like you get notes from the audience. This is what we want to see, and then you start writing to it. It's the opposite way around, and it's really difficult when it goes on for a long time not to get drawn into that. But it's like, oh, we want to. People are responding well to this and responding well to that, and people want to see this and people want to see that. You've got to stick to your guns, and you've got to write what's right for the story, and then hope that people follow that story. And whether they like it or not, or agree with that's the way it should be or not, it doesn't really matter. Because I don't sit there reading a novel and then look at and then it finishes and then go, God, I would have written that differently. It just is what it is. And so I think that it's the double-edged sword of being in something that becomes very popular, I guess. And it was a very long-winded way of saying yes. We had many endings. Anyway, happy 40th in 20 years.
Hi, my name is Courtney, and I'm sorry this is so cliche, but what do you desire?
Honestly, I will say this, it's going to take it serious for a second. I'm a dad, and what I'm really struggling with at the moment is that for years and years and years, we've been talking about climate change. And it's almost like either people didn't believe it was going to happen, or someone thought someone else would take care of it, or whatever. I think it's become so apparent now that this is something that it's gone beyond what we hoped. It's already accelerated to a place where it's like, shit, it's happening. But I still believe that the next 20 to 30 years, we have a huge responsibility to our children and their children and the people that come after that. And so my desire is that we crack the back of that right now, properly.
Excellent. Thank you. We're going to head over here for a couple questions.
Hi, I'm Ashika.
Why is that funny? Don't laugh at your own name.
No, I'm just really nervous. Your voice is so beautiful. What I would truly desire if you sang a few lines from Creep.
Oh. Can move on if you like.
Every time someone asks me to sing, I can hear my daughter go, oh, God. This is a hard one a cappella. When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your tears made me cry. That's it. There you go.
Thanks. Turned into karaoke night. Sorry. Another question here.
Hi, Tom. My name is also Michelle.
Hello, also Michelle.
Hi. Your comedic timing is so great. Catherine Tate was here about a couple years ago. So was there anything that, that she's started with, in comedy. Is there anything that you did that just cracked her up?
Cracked who up, sorry?
Catherine Tate.
Catherine Tate? Mm-hmm. See, Catherine's quite serious in real life. It's quite funny, actually. I think that, walking out in front of red Speedos normally makes people laugh anyway. So that certainly did that. Oh, actually, do you know what? When we were filming that sketch, the black and white sketch, they hadn't planned what the song was going to be in the sketch that I start singing at the piano. And the only song I know that I can play on the piano is Let It Be. So I started playing that in the rehearsal, and they were like, oh, you got to do it, and Catherine loved it. So that's the reason that's in. It didn't make her laugh, per se, but it made her happy, which in turn made me happy.
One more question over here.
Hi, my name's Carrie.
Hello.
I was wondering, in the show, on my T-shirt, you had a couple instances when you had to change characters and go from one accent to another. So how difficult was that to try to remember to go to more of a American accent and then back into your accent and back and forth? Was it hard to kind of keep going back and forth between those two characters?
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was tough. Well, I played an American character on the show a few years ago, before the show that I did that we can't talk about. We can't talk about the other one as well, but whatever. It was a show about someone in a hurry. Can I say? This is quite fun, actually. Rhymes with gush. And I was an American in that show, and so basically I decided that the easiest way to do that was to stay American all the time, in between the takes. So when I got picked up for work in the morning, I'd get in the car and I'd be American, and then weirdly I'd be driving back with my driver, and we'd have this thing where I go, and it's 3, 2, 1, and I'd try and fall back into a British accent, and it was really difficult actually to start with. But so that was my sort of fixed process about that's how I do things like this. And then when this came along, I didn't have that time. I didn't have that thing, and I had to play both the same guys in the same scene, and it was literally like going to the side of the stage, putting on a different thing, and putting your hair to the side, and then that's the time of prep that I had. So yeah, I hated it, to be honest, to start with, because a lot of actors will tell you, and going back to that thing about the rehearsal room, a place to make mistakes, you have to get through this kind of like self-conscious period when you're sort of taking on a character. And that was excruciating for me on that set, because I was so used to being one character that trying to be another character, I felt like a fraud. I felt like I was a terrible actor, and it was. I had to get out of my own way. That was the hardest thing about it. Eventually, it just took hold, and you got to keep going, whatever. But yeah, it was. It messed with my head a little bit, let's say.
We like you better anyways. We didn't like him very much.
Oh, thank you.
We got about 10 minutes left. Let's knock a few more questions out. You okay with that, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Let's knock them out. The questions.
Hi, my name's Tia. I'm just wondering, did you pick up any sort of traits or habits from any of the roles that you have played?
Well, I was teetotal when I started that previous job. Did I? I mean, I think when you're doing something, certainly for a long time, it's the sort of it becomes a very blurred line between where Tom starts and finishes and where the character starts and finishes. And so I will find myself certainly, going home on a daily basis from set and still talking like the character. And saying certain things like the character that I wouldn't do. It would only be like if I was talking to my family or spent a little bit of time with people that had nothing to do with that job, that I'd find myself coming back fully. So yeah, I mean it's very difficult, because I probably during the period of time that we shot that show, I spent more time as him than I did as me, and that was a bit of a head mess. And very annoying for my children.
Hi, my name's Jane. Just wonder, when you're training for a role in general, or specifically, or generally in life, clean eating, how do you approach that? Do you find that easy to stick to?
No.
I was going to say, any tips for sorting that out?
Okay, I do actually. I hate dieting. Hate it. And I've had to do it before, and it doesn't help, because you want to be enthused about what you're doing, and that just seems like, oh, God. I was introduced to intermittent fasting about a year ago, and that, for me, is my solution. I'm not saying it works for everybody, and you've got to be really... It's not about starving yourself. I have to categorically hit that on the head. It's not about that. It's about being very disciplined about when you can and can't eat. But when you can eat, you can pretty much eat what you want, within reason. Obviously, you don't want to be silly about it, but you're not looking at a slice of bread going, ooh, one day, ooh. you're going, I'm going to have that slice of bread, and it's not going to, it might make me fart for a bit, but that's it. Sorry. But yes, in a way, that is the thing that really helped me, because I really enjoy the training, and I really enjoy that side of it, but the dieting and the kind of feeling like you have to cut yourself off from being normal and like watching absolutely everything, it just wasn't for me, and it becomes too obsessive as well, and it becomes no fun. And certainly in a place like Philadelphia, I know you guys like to drink, and I know you guys like to eat well, right?
Pittsburgh.
Anyway, it's been great. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh my God, I can't believe I just did that.
That's all right.
I'm so sorry. In a place like Pittsburgh, I'm so sorry, genuinely. That you guys like to eat and you like, to drink, and that's part of life. You know what I mean? It's like the socializing that comes with that, and the mingling with each other. Like, I hated being in a place where I felt like I couldn't do that. And so the solution of intermittent fasting worked for me. So that's my tip. There you go. And thank you for getting me a shot.
And we got time for about 3 more questions. We'll do them on this side of the room.
Hi, my name is Mandy.
Hi,
With your
Mandy.
family's religious background, did you or your family have any reservations about certain roles or any particular scene that you've done?
No, to be honest. It was a kind of interesting sort of social experiment. I came from my very lovely family in the UK, and obviously my dad's a pastor and stuff. But I think when people talk about religion and certainly elements of Christianity here, it's a very different kind of element to it that I don't think really exists that much in the UK. And so, for that reason, I think people would expect, oh, your dad's a pastor. Surely he had something to say about you playing the devil. But no, not at all. My dad is cool. My dad knows that when something's a bit of fiction or something's a bit of fun or all of that, and the trope of there was a campaign by a group called 1 Million Mums just before this show that we can't talk about came out. And it was so interesting because I thought, well, I'd be naive to think that in a place like the States where there's fundamental Christianity, I'd be naive to think that there wouldn't be some backlash. I just found it super interesting that it happened before it even came out. Because I'm like, you've not even seen it. What are you talking about? Like this, you complaining about this suggests more about you than it does about our show. And so it wasn't a thing in my life. I know that people would like to think it would be, and it's been a fun sort of it was my get out of jail free card in many ways when the show started. Where people had something to say about it, I'd go, well, my dad's a pastor. And he's fine with it. So, I think, and also, I've got to tell you, a couple of times today, I've spoken to people that refound their faith through watching the show. Isn't that interesting? It's really fascinating. And I thought the show was good for that. It was good for that because it didn't damn anybody. It just kind of opened up. There was a question mark about lots of things. And I think that as in, we don't have the answers to everything as human beings. We've got science and we've got lots of those sort of answers, but there are many, many things that we can't really explain. And so I think using characters that we all know that have been part of organised religion to illustrate a story for the betterment of that is cool.
Okay, let's get another question over here. Then we'll get one more question from the other side of the room after this one.
My name is Christopher. What is your favorite footballer?
Christopher. Top 3. Thierry Henry, number 1. Lionel Messi, number 2. And when I was growing up, the England captain was Brian Robson, and I loved him. So Brian Robson. There you go. I bet you've never heard of him, have you? Legend. It was a legend.
And let's get our final question on the other side of the room.
Hi, I'm Carla.
Hello.
Hey, I was just wondering, you were talking about doing the different cons and you're in all the different cities. like is this the first time you've been to Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Oh, we're in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that's where the confusion came in. No, yes, it is my first time in Pittsburgh.
Do you get to stay a couple of extra days and like do any sightseeing? Or are you
I
interested
literally
in doing-
got here last night, really late, and I'm here for the next 2 days. I'm probably going to try and do a little bit of exploring tonight. But, you know, I drove, like, it was dark when I got here last night, obviously. This was a dumb thing to say. And then we drove here this morning, and I was like, wow, look at this place. It's so beautiful. We drove down by the river, and it's just so green and lush everywhere, and some of the buildings were really handsome in downtown. I thought this is a place I'd like to spend a bit of time in.
Yeah, you asked me earlier if I was local, so that's why I was curious if you
Oh,
got
yeah.
to. But I was going to say your daughter, I don't know if you'd have a chance to go to Kennywood, but it's an awesome amusement park that you could take her to. And
Ooh.
yeah.
There you go.
I might just send you there tomorrow. You going there and to the zoo? Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't thank you enough for doing this for us. It's just been such an awesome
Thanks, guys.
experience. Give it up, Tom Ellis.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening. And I'll see you again soon.
Yes.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.